podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as always, dear listener, because we don't know what time of the day or what situation you are in when you are listening to this show. But we are here for yet another preview episode of the Dockers debate, where we'll be looking ahead to Erith Town's must-win, no pressure to our guest, must-win game against Burgess Hill Town. And as with the Ramsgate game before, we actually have a member of the other side. It is Burgess Hill Town's answer to J-Lo. It's Kobo, our friend Colin. Colin, how are we, mate?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm well, thank you. I'm sitting here looking out the window. It's a glum old day here in mid-Sussex.
Yeah, it's not that much better here, to be fair.
I was going to say, it's better than traffic driving past central London, that's for sure, I bet.
Anyway, first of all, I just wanted to send a massive congratulations to Erith Town, because I know that it's quite a difficult feat coming up from the league below, and you guys have acquitted yourselves really well, and you should be very proud of the position that you find yourselves at the moment.
Thanks, Colin. I mean, we've contributed massively to that.
I'm sure you've been out there scoring goals, along with James, Harry, and Ollie, I think.
Someone's done their notes.
Yeah, homework.
But yeah, no. So welcome to the show. And do you know what? It's a really weird one, because obviously Rob and I, we also, for those who don't know, we write the program as well and do a lot of other stuff. We move the bins as well at the ground. But one thing that is quite interesting, I don't know about you, Rob. Before we touch on to the interview with Colin, after the little double header last year against Burgess Town, I always have a little bit of a sneaky look at them and see how they're getting on. So this was one of the ones I was looking forward to the most this season.
Yeah, because I don't know if you remember, Colin, but we met twice last season in the FA Cup preliminary round. The first round at yours, which ended in a 0-0, and I think it was one of those weird days where it was kind of sunny but also pouring with rain. It was kind of a weird day. We ended up back at the Stanmore for a replay, but unfortunately we got pipped 2-1 on the day. Do you remember those games? Because were you there? Because obviously we do, and not that we're thinking revenge at all, but clearly we want to put something right.
But the post was your best player in the replay.
Well, I have to say I was definitely there for the first game, but for some reason it was very amiss of me. I didn't make the second one, and I have to say that ground of yours at Thamesmead was a new ground for a lot of our supporters, so we probably enjoyed the occasion as well.
What did they say about the place, apart from the
They liked it, and they're very much looking forward to coming on Saturday.
Excellent.
He's sweetening us up, Rob. He's sweetening us up. I know, as before, Rob, you've got a lot of the questions all lined up there. Do you want to let you crack on?
Yeah, go on. I've got a couple of things. So you're currently 6th in the league, a couple of places above the Dockers, but there's only 3 points in it. So this is after you finished 12th last season. So are you doing better than you thought you'd be doing, or is this about where you thought you'd be? And what do you think it's down to? How do you think how do you think it's going so far?
Well, we've historically been in this Isthmian family for many years now. We enjoyed about 4 seasons in the Premier League, and unfortunately we got relegated about 4 seasons ago, and we've been trying to get back up there. And this year we've had new owners come in. There's 4 joint owners who we all know very well, and they make themselves very much part of the club. And the whole energy this season is building towards yet another, hopefully, promotion drive. A lot of people were saying this is where we expected to be at this particular junction. Unfortunately, we had a nosebleed on Saturday when we lost against Broadbridge Heath, which none of us expected, and it took us a bit by surprise. So we're now back on the rebuild. So we are looking to get ourselves into that playoffs.
You've got joint managers there. You've got Gary Mansell and Jay Lovett.
Yeah.
So how do you think that's working? Because joint managers, I always think is a bit of a weird, is there genuinely definitely a number one and number two? How do they split the responsibilities? What's their relationship like? Who gets the blame when it all goes wrong, like it did on Saturday?
How many times have they been compared to the Cowleys?
Do you know what? We had all these thoughts pre-season when these two were paired together, but it has to be said it's working in perfect unison. Jay seems to be more vocal on the day, whereas Gary Mansell is very much a statistician. He looks at the tapes, and they bring these two qualities together really nicely. And we've got a lot of confidence in these two guys going forward. So I would say it's working very nicely for us at the moment.
Okay.
And the thing is as well, just quickly, just to follow on from that, you was talking about how it all seems to be going well together and all that kind of stuff, and how there's like a bit of a unison and you want to get back and everything like that to the Premier Division. I think the way as I say, apart from the blip recently, your results have been good. You wouldn't be where you are if you were. But I actually think as well, I mean, when you go away, like Rob will tell you, you go to some grounds, not naming some, you're like, I can't believe that this is like a tier 4 stadium because of basically, quite frankly, there's not a lot of people here or, infrastructure of the size. But I think you've got a really nice, lovely little ground there. And I think you're quite the model, at least from an outside point of view, of how a lot of tier 4 teams can set themselves up. You might not get the numbers of like Ramsgate and Margate who look to get the thousands, but you're regularly around the 300, 400, 500 number, aren't you?
Yes. I mean, that attendance of 400-500 is quite traditional for us over the last few years. But it has to be said that in terms of the ground, thank you very much for saying that. We are very, very proud of our ground. We hope that teams from, sort of like North Kent and all that come down and enjoy what we can produce in Mid Sussex. A lot of it is down to a big team of volunteers. And I know every club's got its volunteers, but we have built our volunteers numbers up a lot this season. And there's been a lot of stuff going on around about like boring things like cutting the lawns, sweeping up the leaves, making sure the bins are empty. All those things.
That's an important job.
They all add up.
The bins are an important job.
The bins are important. Bins are an important job.
Bins are an important job. Yeah, we've got this 92-year-old John Buck who's been there since 19 freezing. Yeah, back in the 40s. Wow. This guy, and he still turns out and empties the bins. I mean, it's amazing. So
there you go, Rob. There's still some years left for you to do.
Yeah, clearly,
you've got a long way to go yet. So we are very proud of that stadium, albeit that the clubhouse facility, as you might remember, was put there in 1971. That's when that club ground was open, and it hasn't really been changed. So it is becoming to near the end of its life. So we have got to, at some point, really think about building something new, because at the moment we're fighting fires with the electrics, all sorts of things.
It's just getting to the time where it needs a refresh, really.
It certainly does.
But do you think that would be dependent on you going up though?
No, not at the moment. We've these new owners that have come in have got quite high ambitions, which we're all following. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. They can't just wave a magic wand. We know that. But little by little, we will get that ground modernized, if you like.
Mm-hmm. So you need some volunteers that are like bricklayers and plasterers and plumbers and stuff.
We've got about 3 or 4 in there called the engineers, we call them.
Nice.
They do all the above my pay grade sort of jobs, putting up shelves and all that sort of stuff.
Or there's that volunteer who's just left his little non-league club, that Abramovich fella. What's his name? He could help out, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe.
But no, in all seriousness,
I'd like to see him on a lawnmower.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, like we say, I know we just touched on it there, but I remember when, going down to Burgess Hill, like even the clubhouse, it's got that, like, there's some places, as I say, I'm not going to name names. Previous listeners of the podcast will know when we describe them. But Burgess Hill's one of those places that has got that sort of community feel. And I remember saying to Rob, when we first arrived down there, I was like, because again, with all due respect to the Sceffel level, and unless you're a big team in a Sceffel or one that's come down or one that's got some investment, you don't tend to see too many replica shirts. You don't tend to see too many like sort of kids with flags and buntings and all that kind of stuff. But I remember saying to Rob, I was like, Rob, like there's people with scarves, there's people with shirts. We didn't see that at Skeffel. I mean, that's starting to grow a bit more at the Stanmore now that we've gone up. You are seeing a lot more families, and our attendance is going up as well. And we're trying to make that community feel. But again, that's something that I think Burgess will do really well. Sorry, Rob, go on. I'll let you continue with your questions.
So getting back to the game for Saturday, your form over the last 6 games is 1-3, drawn 3, and only lost 1. So Gary and Jay must be doing something right. I've looked at some of the stats. Your danger men on paper are, I think, if I'm right, Alex Brewer, Ben Pope, but the whole team seems to be chipping in with goals. Is that about right?
Yeah, I would say that's true. We've here at Burgess Hill, one of our joint owners, Vince Alfrea, has over the years built up a massive junior section, and we're now getting the benefits of that. We've got a whole raft of youngsters coming through, Alex Brewer being one of them. But if he's just the tip of the iceberg. So as you say, we've got these youngsters coming through who live in Burgess Hill, been brought up in Burgess Hill, and they are actually playing for our first team now and scoring goals. As you say, Ben Pope, he's just a legend here in Sussex anyway, and we're very, very lucky to have him playing for us. I mean, he can score. He's like a poacher. He's your perfect goal-scoring poacher. So if the goalkeeper drops it, he's there to poke it home. He's there to score that beautiful poacher's goal. Alex Brewer has come through and he scored some really good goals. He scored a thumping header, 1-1 at Hartsdown in the last minute. Just a joy to make it 1-1 there. So as you say, he's a danger man. But as you say, we are starting to see goals, which is unusual for us, from defence and midfield. Like there's a guy called Alex Mallins who hopefully will play on Saturday. He's there with a header. He's a defender, but he'll come up for a corner and a thumping header, back post. Better watch out for him. So you're right. We're dangerous from all over the park.
Yeah, I mean the numbers for any individual player aren't huge. I mean, there's a lot of 1s and 2s until you get up to the kind of, as I say, the Alexes and the Bens of this world. But it's nice to see that everybody's chipping in. So who else do you think, in terms of midfield, defence, who do you think we should keep an eye out for? Who do you think the crowd should keep an eye out for Saturday's game?
Well, this year we've got an absolutely charismatic goalkeeper. He played a hell of a lot of games. I think it was a decade at Dorking Wanderers. Slav Huck, his name is. We've introduced.
I noticed that because doing the program, I had to check that about 5 times as I was spelling it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he's an absolute blinding guy, and we've been very lucky to introduce him to Burgess Hill, and he's really loving his time with us. So he's a very good goalkeeper. He'll make really good saves for us, and he's very commanding in the box. So look out for him. You've got a guy called Nathan Cooper, centre back. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be fit or whether he's going to be playing because he hasn't played the last 2 or 3 games. But starting.
Yeah. I was going to say if he's low on fitness, start him.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Well, he's towering headers. I mean, you won't get the ball past him because he's really good up there. And the fans' favourite is a guy called Kieran Rowe.
Right.
Yeah, we've got he has his own song. There's about 4 or 5 players that have their own song, and he has his own song. He won't give up running for the full 90 minutes. So you'll have to watch out for him. He will definitely play.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that he let's hope he has a quiet one. But no, going back to what we were saying about sort of you said about Erith before we started. What are you hoping to get from the game? Obviously, as a Burgess Hill fan, you're expecting the win or wanting the win, should I say? But what do you know about Erith? How dangerous do you think Erith can be? From what you saw us last year, because in the nicest way, that team that played against Burgess Hill, I did think there was obviously a lot of players who are still there now. But Rob, you'll probably back me up. Our additions are probably better than the side that we had last year, even though it was a good team last year.
Clearly, we had a good team last year, clearly, because we won 3 trophies and got promoted. But this year, having stepped up to step 4, we have had to step up and we've had to kind of improve in as many places as we can. And I think the squad we got this year is even stronger. So although clearly because they're all new, it took them a little while to gel, but now that they seem to have been getting into their stride, they're doing well. I mean, that's testament to the fact that we're 8th in the division, and it's our first time ever in at this level. So it's gone well. So yeah, I was wondering, what do you think it's like compared to what do you think it's going to be like compared to last year?
Well, first of all, like I said before, any team that sort of comes up through that Southern Counties division. I know that Deal Town won it, and you guys came through on the playoffs, didn't you?
That's right.
I think you beat Corinthian, who were in our league about 3 seasons ago.
Mm.
I mean, they survived one year but didn't survive the second, and this year it seems like Stanning, who've come up through the Sussex side of the county, are really struggling. And it's not surprising because there's quite a big step up, notwithstanding the travelling, and you're playing some really big clubs. You're playing some big clubs in this division, like the Margates and the Ramsgates and all that. So for you guys to have done what you've done, I've just written it down here. You've played 19, won 8, amassed 30 points. That's not to be sneezed at.
Yeah.
You produced some goal scorers here, Dyer, Taylor, and is it Milton? I mean, they've got
James Milton, yeah.
They've got 30 goals between them.
Mm.
So we're expecting a tough match, and if we're not on it, we'll probably come out not the right side of the ledger, if I'm honest. So we're coming to you knowing that we're going to have to be at our best, especially on away soil.
Yeah,
So,
and that's kind of the thing, and we say it with Erith, and I know that every non-league club says it about their team anyway, but there is a uniqueness with Erith that we might not be the best team you'll ever play, but you have to put in an absolute shift if you're going to get anything from us. We were just saying off recording a moment ago, there's some teams that you sort of look at the fixture and think, you know what, it's not going well, so we'll probably nick 3 points here, or we'll nick a draw, or that's the game where we'll turn it around. But I don't think, unless I've got it wrong, I don't think many teams look at Erith Town and think, this is one of the ones we should get 3 points from quite easily, because Erith capable of beating most teams in this division, as you say, it's been proven. And the ones that we do lose, these teams are in games, aren't they, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have equipped ourselves well. We've gone about it the right way. The team are acting professionally, training well. We've had to step up in terms of tactics, in terms of being prepared, incorporating
like the Beavers.
Yeah, kind of incorporating the video into everything and looking at stats. And these are things that, you do a bit at SCEFL level, but then when you realise that you want to go up, you want to get promoted, then you have to start to become serious about it. And then, of course, once you actually get up, it's a different level again. And, you have to work harder and work for longer than you did before. And if you want to then continue to grow and progress, you realise that at every level, everything's got to become that much more professional. So yeah, it's interesting. It's also hard work. Obviously, not as hard work for us as it is for the team, but it's hard work. But you can see the difference between the two, the level we've been at, the level we're at now.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can see definitely that there is a difference again if we want to go up again and step up. So yeah, not least the difference in money. To keep things going.
There is that. So Colin, so we'll wrap up shortly, but give us your match prediction for the weekend. What do you think?
Okay, if I can just say that hopefully Erith Town have got ambitions. Hopefully you've got title ambitions still. I mean, it's a long season. We've still got a long way to go in this season.
Mm-hmm. You must fancy yourselves with that. You must fancy yourselves for at least a playoff spot.
We've got well, hopefully, I mean, as a group, we've still got title ambitions. I mean, I know it's going to be a long, hard
Ramsgate are a
slog,
long way away, though, aren't they?
but I'm thinking that this weekend's game is kind of key to both clubs. If you, I mean, especially when you consider we both had knocks at the weekend, I think the loser of this game on Saturday is going to be looking up quite a bit, but the winner is going to be quite close because there's no Sittingbourne this weekend, and there's no Margate, I don't think, because
Yeah,
they were meant to play each other.
I know that if we win, we'll be on the same points as you.
Yeah,
And then obviously whatever, as long as we win by more than one,
it'll
we'll
be
be above
above
you on
us.
goal difference. But it'll just be goal difference. There won't be anything else. But we still won't be in the playoff spots.
No,
So,
you won't.
but
At
it
this
would be
stage,
nicer. It would be nicer to be there than where we are.
exactly, you'll be right underneath.
I compared it, Colin.
I'm going to say, if I'm going to stick my neck out,
Right.
and I reckon it's going to be a Burgess Hill 1-0, Alex Brewer.
Yeah, I kind of, I mean, it's obviously a different kettle of fish for you guys because you've had this longer ambition for longer. But I said it on the last preview show that I'm seeing this season with Erith Town not a free hit necessarily because you want to stay up, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm seeing this as a kind of similar to the season where Leicester City won the title, where every week they were just taking it a game at a time, game at a time, game at a time. They were going like, "Oh, do you think you'll finish in the top four?" And then Ranieri would go, "I just want to get to 40 points." That like when they qualify for the Europa League. Oh, you're looking at the Champions League. I just want to stay safe. All that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not saying that we're going to go on this mad run and end up winning the league, but like Woody, our manager's doing a great job in the sense that he's not getting carried away, is he, Rob? He's very much
No, not
focusing
at all.
on, look, we just need to get enough points to stay up. That is what the focus is, staying up. So whereas everyone around us, in the nicest way, even like yourselves, is saying, oh, would you be looking at titles? Would you be looking at playoffs? We're still very much, we want to consolidate and then we'll look. Now, that's not taking anything away from the club or saying that we're going to get to 40 points and stop, because that's not what Erith Town is about at all. But what it is we're just setting the expectation. This is what it is, 40 points, and then we go. But,
it is our first season at this level. So,
yeah.
So the most important thing is to consolidate and make sure that we're still at this level next season. Beyond,
And do you know what? Colin? Because you have said a cheeky 1-0 to Burgess Hill, I'm going to go a cheeky 2-1 Erith Town.
Okay.
Put the cat amongst the pigeons. Are you there on Saturday? Are you there on? Oh, Rob, sorry.
Of course, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to being there. I've been to that stadium once before, following our under-21s many years ago. I can't even remember who our under-21s played. It was a Saturday afternoon that I followed them up here. So I'm looking forward to being there.
Well, do you know what, Colin? I'll let you buy me a pint. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds good, Michael.
So
there we are.
You have home games of around 400 or so. What sort of travelling support do you get?
We get good travelling support. Hopefully George the drummer will be there.
Oh, not another drummer.
Yeah, if he is, we'll make a lot of noise. If he's not there, we'll still make some noise, but not as much.
Just without a drum.
Hopefully, whether it be 50, maybe 50 or 60 of us there.
That's good. Nice.
In all. So
well, Colin's gone for the 1-0 Burgess Town. Burgess Hill. I've gone for the 2-1 Erith Town. Come on, Rob.
I'm going to go for a comfortable 2-0. I think Harry
Clean
Taylor,
sheet as well.
Harry Taylor, and I'm going to say George Goodwin with another trademark header since he's come back into the squad.
There we go. Well, I've just had the little pop-up that says we've only got X amount of minutes left on this recording, so that's a good time as any to leave this here. But Colin, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Is there anything you want to say to any listeners, as long as it's not good luck to Burgess Hill this weekend?
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe give Erith some advice, if I may.
Go for it.
I've been doing this a dozen years now as a fan. Always think about second season syndrome. We've seen it quite a few times where a team comes in, does really well in their first season. The second season is always that little bit harder. So that's my advice to you guys. When you come to, I don't know, August next year, you have to refocus and go again.
Thank you, Colin. So you've now gone from the J-Lo of Burgess Hill to the kiss of death. Thank you very much.
Liking that.
Yeah. But no, thank you for your time. And so dear listener, we look forward to seeing you at the Stanmore this weekend, where Colin will buy everyone a pint. Up the Dockers.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.